Synergy. Welcome to Synergy. Live with Synergy. Live with Synergy. This is your host, Andrea John Baptiste. Welcome to Synergy, where music, business, and culture synchronize. Greetings, friends, family, collaborators, guests, audience, certainly our partners and sponsors. Welcome to another edition of Synergy, where music, business, and culture synchronize. This is Andrea John Baptiste, and we're so excited to have you tuned in today to 99.1 FM WGJY. Hey, Atlanta, how you doing? Hey, Kentucky, how are you? Hello, UK. We got a special shout out for you today because our guests actually are in the UK. Today we are talking about tools of the trade for artists and folks in the business, and it's one of the areas that I like to spend a lot of time in. It's not usually very sexy, but it's so important in the music business that, you guys know the backstory. I grew up in a house where music was always being created and so on, and my father always drummed into us intellectual property rights. It's your intellectual property. And even in the work that I do in business consulting, right? Synchronizers, that is such a huge piece for us in terms of working with some of the businesses. Where's the intellectual property? Who owns it? Do you have all the rights? Is it partial? What's going on? And so, do you have a non-disclosure agreement? So those are parts of the pieces. But today, I'm going to be really honest. I will be a student at these women's feet because we're venturing into an area that I've heard the term, but I don't know too much about. So today, I want to introduce you to the founders of IAFAR. And I'm going to let them explain what IAFAR is and what it stands for. But I have with us today Naomi Asher, Ann Tausis, and Stacey Haber. And I'm going to ask Naomi, who is our president, or is the president and co-founder of IAFAR, to go ahead and just introduce once again her co-panelists today on Synergy. Naomi, welcome.
Thank you. Yes, we're excited to be here. So IAFAR was something that myself and Ann initially started talking about, Ann Tausis, who I'll introduce in a minute, a few years ago because of some issues that we had that we felt were income stream wide. There are organizations on the publishing side that if you have an income stream wide issue, you can take your problem to the NMPA in America, and David Israelite can advocate for you, and the MPA in the UK, and there was no organization similar in the neighboring rights field. And neighboring rights, just to clarify, it's next to copyright. It's the sound recording. It's anybody who contributes, makes an audible contribution to the sound recording. So we felt that needed to be a space that was filled. So we co-founded IAFAR, which is the Independent Alliance for Artists' Rights. It's not got neighboring rights in the title because we didn't want it confused with the NRA. So we had to go a different route with that. But that's where the organization came from. We're about 18 months old, so we're still new, still growing. And, it's very much a labor of love and something that we hope can make this income stream better for everybody involved. And Ann Tausis is my co-founder, as well as Stacey Haber. And is that all you want from me right now?
Welcome, Ann. Welcome, Stacey. And let me just say that all of these founders, co-founders that are with us today also have significant roles in the music industry. And so, Ann, tell us a little bit about your other job outside of IAFAR.
Yeah, so I'm the CEO of Cobalt Neighboring Rights. My background is in publishing. I worked for Universal Publishing for lots of years, 23 to be exact. Started out in my native Sweden and then moved to London in 96. And then went to Cobalt, it's coming up to 7 years ago, to head up the Neighboring Rights division, and I haven't looked back since. Just going back to what you said in the introduction there, so you mentioned that your dad always drummed into you the importance of IP rights, and my dad was a drummer, played on lots of recordings, and something that I picked up quite early on in my life was the fact that, and he luckily, so he was touring a lot, recording loads, then actually stopped doing his creative stuff, but still wanted to work in the music industry. So he went on to work for the Swedish Composer Author Society, STIM, so kind of got into that. And he said to me that, you know, he wished that he had taken charge of his songwriter credits at that time, because he contributed to lots of songs but never actually took credit for it. And that's something he regretted afterwards, you know, 20 years down the line. And that's always kind of stayed with me, and how important it is to actually make sure that your contributions are recorded and that you're actually paid for it. So that has always been sort of a motivation for me, working in this industry, both on the publishing side and then on the neighboring rights side.
Wow, thank you for sharing that, because, you know, unfortunately, when we talk to artists, we hear so many of those stories, and it's always hindsight is 2020. You know, they all will say, I wish I did, I wish I had, or I wish I had known. Some of our older guests have said, you know, back in that time, I was just so excited about making music and hearing it on the radio. That wasn't, I couldn't care less. I was just excited that people were playing it. So yeah. Thank you so much. And I appreciate the confirmation. And this speaks to the importance of this discussion today, right, Synchronizers? You are tuned in to a conversation with the co-founders of IAFAR, and we're talking about neighboring rights. But before we jump into the meat and potatoes, or in my case, the tofu and veggies of the conversation, I would like to hear from Stacy. Stacy, you also are in the music industry. Tell us about your work outside of IAFAR.
Was that for me?
Yes, it is.
Oh, sorry, it was froze for a while. I have been a music lawyer for 30 years, and in that time I've worked at record companies, music publishers, sync companies, and my own law firm. I just sort of go where the flow is, where the work takes me. I've got A-list clients and emerging artists. I don't care, I'm just interested in the music and helping it get made. I came to IAFAR when there was a legal question, when they were forming this rights organization. And I have a small publishing company as well, and a small label, so it was of importance to me. That's how I came to the party.
Wow, and a party it is. All right, good stuff. So I'm gonna just ask one more time, Naomi, if you can just reiterate, I know you said it in your introduction, what does IAFAR stand for, the acronym?
It stands for the Independent Alliance for Artist Rights, and it's a neighboring rights organization. We all work in neighboring rights. I'm Vice President of International Neighboring Rights at Sony ATV. Obviously, Anne told you about her position at Cobalt, and Stacy as well, and it's a field that we feel really needed representation, so that's why it's the Independent Alliance for Artist Rights.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, thank you so much. All right, so Stacy.
Yes.
You said you're the legal person, I think, so you usually do the breakdown of the copyright, right, versus or in comparison or alongside neighboring rights. So will you break that down for us, break it down for me?
Sure, absolutely. When music is created and it becomes in physical form, when it's tangible, you have a recording right in the recording, and that's called the phonographic copyright. And that's, you'll see the little P in the circle. Mm-hmm. That's what the P stands for, phonographic. And the songwriting, which are the lyrics and the composition, the music, are called the composition copyright, and that's the C in the circle. So you'll notice both exist on any kind of physical product you have and should exist online for streaming and downloading. There, in each of those copyrights, there is a performance right, which attracts royalties. On the publishing side, those royalties are collected by ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, and on and on and on. On the recording side, in the US, they're collected by Sound Exchange for digital. And they're called neighboring rights because they sit next to each other. So anytime a recording is played in public or that right, that royalty attaches, it's earned. And so on the neighboring rights side, it goes one place. On the publishing side, it goes to another place. And the writer gets accounted to from ASCAP BMI, the publisher gets accounted to from ASCAP BMI, and the label and the performer, the audible contributor, get accounted to from Sound Exchange.
Wow.
I just want to jump in and add that in terms of public performance, Sound Exchange doesn't collect public performance in the US right now because public performance is not something that neighboring rights applies to in the US. Neighboring rights at the moment is a law outside of the US in most territories outside of the US. But there was a document that was signed in 1961, which the US did not participate in, called the Rome Convention Treaty. And because the US did not participate in the Rome Convention, public performance was not law. So neighboring rights as public performance is not law. So if you're in a Starbucks, for instance, in the United Kingdom, there's going to be 2 separate royalties paid for each recording to the people who are involved in those recordings. So Starbucks plays music in public. There'll be a payment to the composer and the publisher on the publishing side. There will be a payment to the label and anybody who participated in the sound recording on the neighboring rights side. In America, Starbucks plays music in public. They're only going to pay, ASCAP, BMI, et cetera, are only going to pay the publishing side. But Sound Exchange, the money Sound Exchange collects is digital sound recording royalties. So that's going to be Pandora, Last FM, et cetera, things like that. Whereas in the UK, any terrestrial radio station, any blanketed television station, and all venues that get a license to pay music have to pay neighboring rights.
Wow, thank you for the clarification, because I'll be honest here, synchronizers. Okay, backstory coming your way, everybody. So as I did some research, I saw the Treaty of 1961 and that the United States was not involved. And so I'm very happy that you clarified that, because that was a thought. And do we know why the U.S. didn't participate? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, because of pre-1978 recordings. They're not recognized for broadcast as having a phonographic copyright. So and broadcasters like, terrestrial radio don't pay that royalty. They don't pay it for radio either. Mm-hmm. So they couldn't sign the treaty because they weren't going to ever pay rights internationally for that.
Wow, very interesting, very interesting. And so let me ask though, are all other countries part of the treaty?
Not all countries. I mean, most of the European countries are. Latin America, most countries are. Having said that, even though people have actually signed that treaty, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're paying. Mm-hmm. So, and I mentioned Latin America because I think that's a good example whereby lots of countries there, most of the countries did sign the Rome Convention and should be paying through money for the broadcasts that are happening in their countries, but they have decided not to do so. So they still collect from everyone who plays music publicly, but they have kind of decided that the money stays in the country. And it benefits the local performers as opposed to sending them across to the UK and Germany or France or whatever. So there's some anomalies, and those are the kind of things that we as IAFAR are trying to sort of jointly put pressure on those societies that are not open to sort of payment at the moment. That's one of the things that we're kind of advocating for.
Wonderful. So good segue, thank you, Anne, into advocacy and education. What does that look like for the organization, for individuals? And before I get into that, though, you are a membership organization. You are an NGO, correct?
Correct.
Awesome. And so how does membership work before we talk about advocacy and education?
Membership is really straightforward. There's two different types of membership at the moment. There's if you're a representative who deals with neighboring rights directly, or if you're a musician or somebody who handles their own neighboring rights, or maybe you're in a band and you handle neighboring rights for your band. So there's different tiers depending on how many people you effectively represent on the membership side. So, if you're one person, you're going to pay a lot less than if you're, Cobalt or Sony ATV, where you've got, hundreds of clients that you represent. So that's the member. We also have a category called Friends of IAFAR, and that's if you don't directly handle neighboring rights in the sense that you're not a representative or it's not your own neighboring rights, but you have a vested interest in this income stream. So that might be lawyers or accountants or anybody who has, clients where they're earning money from this income stream and they have to keep an eye on it and they have a vested interest, but they're not directly handling the representation themselves. So we have different tiers for both of those, and we're looking to get corporate sponsorship so that we can offer more benefits at different levels. Currently, as we're brand new, every little bit helps, and we'd love members who want to get more involved. But right now it's just the two different categories.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Good. Thank you. And so, and I'm guessing there is a fee, obviously, for the categories.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very good.
Very, very modest fee, I think, for what you actually get. So one of the things, so if you are a member, you get access to our member page on the website, and we're posting lots of educational information there. So there's lots of things that will help you as you kind of tread through the ups and downs of neighbor rights, basically. So lots of information that you can get your hands on that way.
Excellent.
And our educational seminars will be focused to the target audience of who's attending. So when we do it for producers, we give them the forms that need to be handed in with the registration. When we do it for indie labels, it's focused on the rights holder registration. When we do it for performers, it's focused on performer registration.
Awesome. And so that's part of the education. Well, talk to me about the advocacy. And I know you guys are trying to schedule, you're working diligently on additional educational tools, some webinars that will be coming up in the near future.
Yeah. So go for it.
No. You go for advocacy.
Yeah. Our advocacy is being either a friend of the court or a friend of the law firms who are dealing with issues that are so big and so affecting the income for performers and rights holders that there needs to be lawsuits, sometimes class action lawsuits, sometimes individuals. So we're advising all the time on the issues that affect both in the jurisdiction of the lawsuit and internationally, because of course it's all part of an international treaty.
Wow. Very, very, very good. So, and folks know to come to you for if they are concerned with the breach or infringement.
They're learning.
We're trying to get the word out. Yeah. We're trying to make sure people know we exist, but obviously that's something that we're still very much in the early stages of.
Yeah, and I mean, and just to reiterate, we're a non-for-profit organization, and we all, of course, have full-time day jobs. So we're kind of doing this on the side, if you like, or in addition to our normal work. But it's interesting to see, and I think just going back to what we talked about before, that in the last few years, there's so much interest in neighbour rights. I think, people have realized it was kind of that forgotten income stream, because record sales were doing really, really well, and people kind of weren't very aware of neighboring rights. And one thing that we usually say, you know, with Americans, I think lots of people based in America still think that, oh, well, I don't qualify for neighboring rights because of what we talked about earlier, that with the treaty that the US didn't sign, the Rome Convention. But the fact is that there are countries and societies around the world that pays to anyone, no matter where you're from. So just to explain that the Rome Convention, it works on reciprocity. And that's why, so let's say the UK, for instance, although PPL, the collecting society for neighboring rights in the UK, they collect money for American repertoire when that's broadcast, but they have actually decided not to pay American performers because of the reciprocity. My goodness. So yeah, they're holding that money, or actually what they do in that case, so PPL have decided that money, it doesn't even go back to the pot to kind of be split among other performers. They actually are paying it to the label. So in this case, the US label gets the full share, so 100%, and the American performer gets nothing. So I think there's lots of those intricacies in terms of who pays to whom for neighboring rights, and that's, I always say that compared to publishing is really clean and easy because you have a share of a copyright. It doesn't matter where that's used, you get paid your share from every country.
Right.
But in neighboring rights, it differs country by country, and how they actually calculate those who do pay, how they calculate what share you're entitled to. So lots of individual rules that you need to really know about in order to be able to maximize the income that is due to you.
So it does not sound like it one size fits all for every artist, every performer, and it also sounds like there are, some nuances as it relates to kind of the geography as well, right?
There's a lot of nuance. I mean, it's more than just nuances. I mean, the entire income stream basically varies depending on where the recording was made, who owns the recording, who's on the recording, where the people on the recording are residents, where the people on the recording have citizenship. Every single aspect of those things can affect your income. I mean, if you're an American who recorded in America, but you've got your own label, you'll be able to collect your performer share via your label side in PPL because of what Anne was talking about. Canada is going to start relaxing their reciprocity laws this summer, so Americans will start getting paid properly from Canada. But every territory has different rules, and if you're going to handle it yourself, you really need to have an understanding of what those rules are to maximize your income.
Mm-hmm. One of the big differences between neighboring rights and the publishing performance royalty is that in publishing, the writer can register the writer's share, and it doesn't matter if the publisher registers the publisher's share. But it's different in neighboring rights. The performer can register the performer share, but it doesn't get paid until the rights holder registers the rights holder's share.
Wow.
And if they never register it, the performer never gets paid.
Wow. Now that is so very intriguing. Amazing discussion with our friends from IAFAR today. And it sure sounds like if you are making music in any way, shape, or form, or if you are working with people who are making music, this sounds like, and I'm just going to say it, an organization that you really should join, because these nuances just seem so, it's like, woo, you pretty much need to, it sounds like to me, talk to these ladies as you are registering your work to ensure that you are maximizing your bottom line. Because, one of the things, I believe it was Anne who said earlier on, was that as the industry shifted, music sales kind of changed, right? And so now we know that the performing pieces where most people are making their money, And that's also shifting with COVID-19 as well. So in Jamaica, we say every mickle make a muckle. So if you're making music, talk to these ladies so you can get all your mickles to make that muckle. Ladies, before we go, I would like for you all to be sure, Naomi, maybe you can tell folks how to stay connected with IAFAR.
Our website is www.iafar.co.uk, IAFAR. So that's www.iafar.co.uk. You can go on the website. You can email us via the website. You can join. It's very simple to join via the website in the membership area of the website. And then once you join, you get your login for the members area where you can see the education stuff. You can always send us messages if you want to get involved or if you're interested in corporate sponsorship. Please let us know. If you drop a line by the info at email address, then, we'll be able to deal with it and take care of it. And hopefully, we'll be able to help you out and you can help us out.
Wonderful, wonderful. Last question. I'm throwing it out to whoever would like to answer. What do you think is happening now with COVID? Will music events and music making be the same post-COVID?
Eventually it will be. In the short term, we're trying. So I'm working with Deborah Manis-Gardner from DMG Clearances about getting music live again. We have a plan. But until there's a cure, it won't go back to how it was.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Does somebody else want to weigh in really quickly?
I think the live sector, I do agree with Stacey there, but I also think that the COVID has kind of opened other avenues for people. So I think there will be other channels that people will continue to use alongside live when that actually comes back. So I think long term, we'll probably see both of them sort of alongside each other. So do more live streams and things like that, people collaborating across countries via digital means. I think we'll see a lot more of that because people have proven now that it's possible and it's not as maybe difficult as people initially thought.
Yes, absolutely. I'm very interested to see what the new business model will look like for music moving forward. Ladies, our time is pretty much up and it has been amazing speaking with Naomi Asher and Tausis, Stacey Haber, who are founders and they're volunteers, right? Volunteer staff board members for IAFAR doing advocacy and education to ensure that music creators, you are monetizing and maximizing your revenue streams. IAFAR, we thank you so much for your time. Synchronizers, check and stay as we take our first break.
If you enjoy the great music business information you get here on Synergy, then check out Music Biz Live. You'll hear from high-level executives from companies like Facebook, Spotify, Twitch, Universal Music, M-Theory, and Songtrust, as they discuss the most pressing issues the industry is facing right now. Be sure to join Music Biz Live each week, Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern. Find out more at musicbizlive.org.
You're listening to Synergy Radio on WDJY 99.1 FM, where music, business, and culture synchronize.
Welcome back, Synchronizers. Didn't I tell you we were going to have a fantastic show today? Yes, and so as we just wrapped up with the ladies from IAFAR talking about neighboring rights, we've got some more good information, tools of the trade for artists as well, artist managers, composers, musicians, and so on. You've got to hear these deep dive resources that are here today on Synergy, where music, business, and culture synchronize. And this is Andrea John Baptiste, and I am very, very excited to be with you for the next 25 minutes or so as we wind down our show with another amazing guest. But before I introduce you to, I know you're going to want to talk about this, to our next guest, I want to first off give a big shout out to our friends on Blue FM, where we are being simulcasted as well. Mark and Lisa Blaze of Blaze Nation. And also, if you want to tune in for additional Caribbean programming, hit them up or tune in to Glue FM. That's GLUFM.com on Fridays from 7 to 9 Eastern Standard Time for the Gold Digger Show. I did not say gold, G-O-L-D. I said G-O-A-L. And Gold Digger Show for amazing interviews from around the world, as well as Saturday evenings. If you want good music, check them out for Night Groove from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Glue FM. Thank you, Mark and Lisa, for all of your support. Big up Blaze Nation. Big up Glue FM. All righty. You could take the girl out of Jamaica, but you can't take the Jamaica out of the girl. And proud. So we have some true flow information, coming your way this afternoon with founder of an organization called, or company called Truflow Hub, Michael Obadezia. I practiced it, and I don't think I got it right. Michael, help me out here. Greetings and welcome to Synergy.
Thank you very much. It's Obadozie. So it's Michael Obadozie.
Obadozie. I'm going to get it. Hopefully by the time we are done talking, it will be second nature to me. So, Michael, you come from a kind of a robust background. You also do voiceovers and emceeing as well. Tell us a little bit about that before we jump into Truflow Hub.
Yeah, actually, my background initially was in the military. I was in the Army. And what used to happen was we had these things called change of command ceremonies. And my commanders would always want me to read the orders. So it's just pretty much reading a set of orders, just describing what rank you were and what rank you're going to and what the authority is for promoting you to the next rank. So apparently they love my voice. So that's kind of where it all started. And when I got out of the military, I was thinking about becoming an MC because within the community where I'm from, it's very predominant. Within the Nigerian African communities, at weddings, wedding receptions, you have MCs, people who kind of coordinate the wedding ceremony and the activities during the reception. Some in kind of in American culture, it's the DJ that just does it, but I guess the Africans want it to be more classy and more exquisite. So there's a DJ and there's also an MC. So I came out and, I was thinking to myself, I'm not that funny because a lot of the guys who do it are they're comedians or they're comedians on social media or something. But I went to a wedding. I went to two weddings in one weekend, and I saw the same MC repeat the same jokes. And something in me just told me, the people are going to get bored of this. So I kind of threw my hat in, and it's been almost 2 years now. I've been MCing, and so even though I'm not a stand-up comedian, I make my wife and kids laugh. So there's always spontaneous laughter and joy. And so I think, I've done well so far. So, and then for the voiceover side is just the same thing. It's just got a random call one day. I think I did something where I spoke at church, and then one day I got a random call, and the production department wanted me to come do some voiceovers. And from there, it kind of started, and I started doing it for the church and then for other organizations.
Your company, Truflow Hub, your tagline, which I love, is because it is so synergistic and synchronized, right? It is the logistics of entertainment, music, culture, arts, touring, which, here on Synergy, it's about where music, business, and culture synchronize. So I feel that there is a lot of connection already, and I'm really excited about learning about the organization, when it was founded, and what problem was it created to solve? What is it a solution for?
Okay, so it was started in 2011, and it was born out of passion for music. And the purpose of this company is to create that bridge between the international artist and the biggest music market in the world, which is the United States of America. And so that's what it's there for. And I'll give you a short snippet of kind of how it started. I'm not going to be long-winded. So I was so passionate about music. I later remembered while I was passionate about music or making music work or entertainment work. I have a younger brother. He's still in Nigeria, and he was a member of a band. I was so motivated that the band released their first album, and I printed the CDs here, and I would take them to venues to sell the CDs without the artists even being on this continent.
Mm-hmm.
And it was weird because I was given a chance, and I had a banner up, and people bought CDs and did different things. And when I think about it now, it just sounds crazy. I don't think I can ever try that again. You know what I mean? Because most times when you're selling merch, the artist is there, and it makes sense.
Somewhere close by at least, right?
Exactly. So I was just hitting people up. So that's kind of how it started. And then there was an artist based in South Africa. His name is Uche Agu. He was in South Africa. He sang a song that goes double, double. Hey, my God is good, oh. And they say, everything now double, double, now double, double. So me and my wife, we fell in love with him watching YouTube. As in the first time I heard him, I cried. And, we started watching him. The video has millions of views, so maybe me and my wife kind of racked up 500,000 of those views. And one day she's bugging me to go to a baby shower in a city that's an hour away. And I'm telling her, what do you need? You could take the car. You want money? What do you need? And my wife says, no, I have to go to this baby shower with her. So I pretty much drove an hour drive with a frown on my face. And once I got there, I was walking in through the door, and guess who was walking out? Uche Agu was walking out.
Mr. Double Double himself.
From South Africa. And I was like, wow. So we shook hands. I told him what my company was doing, and he was like, man, I've been looking for someone like you. And that's how it all started. And here we are today. It was the first artist that I kind of not just toured, but I kind of managed him, for a while. And that's how it all started. So the point of the company is just creating that linkage, because in places like Africa, the music industry is not that mature. So the ability for the artist to earn money when it's not live performance is greatly reduced. But when they're properly set up here and they have a great way for them to be booked here, they're just winning on every side. And so that's what we are, just creating a bridge for them to be financially successful and also be able to perform in North America or in America.
Nice. I heard, so I'm just loving the information so far, because I heard tenacity, I heard opportunity, I heard serendipity, in all of that. You being tenacious, selling CDs with no artist here. I mean, that, you're right. Like, wow. And successful with that. Throwing your name in the hat to be an MC, and then, all right, serendipitously, the guy who you enjoyed so much is walking out of this place that you didn't want to go to. I mean, wow. Beautiful, synchronized the series of events. So let's talk music and the artists that are on your roster. You talk about talent recruitment and development. What does that look like? And who are you looking to work with?
Primarily, on our roster right now, we're very, very privileged to have probably the top five Christian gospel artists in Africa, and one of them is actually sitting atop the Billboard charts right now as the #1 Christian songwriter for 9 weeks running. Her name is Sinach. She sang the song Waymaker and I Know Who I Am, and I guess Waymaker is what is doing the magic. And so she's been up there for 9 weeks. Along with her, we also have Nathaniel Bassey, who sang the song Imela, and many other songs. There's also Joe Metal from Ghana. He's the first artist in Ghana, Christian artist, gospel artist, to win Artist of the Year. So not just Gospel Artist of the Year, Christian Artist of the Year. In 2017, he won Artist of the Year, beating out every other category. We also have Ada. We have Called Out Music from London. We also have Tim Godfrey, who did the song Nara with Travis Green. And so it's just, we also have the wonderful Chevelle Franklin, and we have a new artist called Jada Mason. So primarily we kind of serve artists who are looking to come over here to perform and to work in the United States. We're also interested in other artists or local artists within the U.S., but for now we've kind of found our niche in that space where we make things work for them.
In the international space, I love it because that is such a, you brought up something, you said that the music industry on the continent of Africa is still young, and Jamaica's is not necessarily as young, probably, or mature. It does have a little bit of age to it. However, structurally, it is also struggling. There's some structural issues, systemic issues there as well. So I find it interesting that you are there, because I think that these spaces definitely need people like you with insight, tenacity, but also I don't want to say but also, but in addition to that, there is prime opportunity, in my opinion, in those spaces as well, because the artists, there's so much talent, and they want to work, and most importantly, many of them are working, but they're not eating, even though they're working very hard. And so it sounds to me like, this is a great conduit for them to expand their career and make money off of their products. So this is a good segue, because one of the things that I really want to talk about today are visas and artist visas, because that's always something, as we work with promoters and so on, they'll reach out to us and say, hey, Andrea, you got an artist, or blah, blah, or so-and-so was on your show, can you link us? But then they get to the person and they're not necessarily able to work here, right? Talk to us about the visa process, how it's different for artists, and when does someone need what they're calling the artist visas? I know that that's not the correct term, but when does someone need that, and how is it different for artists versus the mere mortal?
Yeah. So the artist visas are pretty much for artists that want to come and earn money in America. So if you're coming here not to go shopping or sightseeing, but you're coming to perform at locations, there's going to be exchange of money, there are going to be tickets sold, then you require an artist visa to perform. And really, the artist visa is just to ensure that you have certain things. You're able to get a Social Security number, right? You're able to pay taxes, because at the end of the day, that's what Uncle Sam wants. And they just want to get their own portion of it. You just don't want you to come here, make all the money, and go away. So there are two types of visas, two classes of visas. There is the O visa and the P visa. The O visa is for artists who have extraordinary ability in the arts, okay? And then there's also the P visa. I think there's the P3, which is culturally unique visa, culturally unique artist visa, and that's also a group visa, that's a P1. Okay, so in all these, the qualifications are different. I'm not going to go so deep into all of them, but we'll start from the P3. The P3 is very, very self-explanatory. So you have to be a culturally unique artist visa, meaning that whatever it is you offer, you're bringing, is not something that is readily available in the United States of America. So it could be anything from playing a certain instrument to a certain dancing skills or dancing style or singing or performing in general. Sometimes you have to also be at a level where you can probably teach this art form to people in America. So it's also kind of a connecting, for educational programs, like if a university wanted to bring someone over because they played the congas or the talking drums or they had a traditional dance troupe, then you go for something like a P3 visa. Okay? The P1 is just kind of more of a group thing. The O visa, on the other hand, is for people who have extraordinary ability in the art. You must be earning a high remuneration. You should have been featured on newspapers, on national publications, nominated on huge award stage or won huge awards, being a lead or starring act on a nationally recognized or internationally recognized production and stuff like that. So to the point where you could be seen as someone who could be called on to be a judge, okay? And so those are the two classes of visas. And so the process is that you have to be, just like with every other visa, you have to be able to submit information that supports and proves you're who you say you are. And obviously we send you out a list of things that you need to put together. And this is why it's very important. In many countries, and especially with some of the African artists, especially within the Christian gospel community, everybody has this attitude or this, I don't know if it's the best word is attitude, but there's a way they behave where I'm doing this for God. You know what I mean? So there's no planned publicity. It's whatever happens, happens. So they're not really looking to get on magazines, to get all these things that would eventually be important. When they're nominated for awards, they just wait. They don't ask for the nomination letter. They don't ask for the certificate, even if they win. So there's a certain
so an informality almost in terms of treating the credentialing, so to speak. Am I right? Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm doing it for God. It's all about the Lord, but you're going to go to the U.S. Embassy. That's the problem. So some part of you has to have a team or management that tracks these things so that when it's time to apply for such a visa or file such a petition, we have all the information that we need to be submitted. So aside from the things that they need to submit to prove that they are who they say they are, they also have to have booked events or events that are in some stage of agreement in the U.S. for them to put a calendar together. And it is, say, for example, for the P3 visa, it's a 1 year maximum, right? And then for the O visa, it's a 2 to 3 year visa. Okay, so if you're going to get the max time, you have to provide enough dates and activities to show that you need the complete 2 years. There are artists that just they just come here for 2 weeks and they get the visa. It's the same price for processing, but they get that and then it's done. But if an artist requires the entire time, they have to have a booking system here or someone who's booking them so they can provide these dates, venues, and locations to be added to the package. In addition to that, they also need a written consultation from an applicable labor union, saying that I guess you're who you say you are again, and you're not coming here to take American jobs. So pretty much your presence here is not a hindrance to performing artists or musicians within the United States. So these and other things are what form the petition that is now submitted, that we now submit to the USCIS. It takes anywhere between 30 to 90 days to get approved, denied, or there's something called an RFE, which is a request for information. So if they think that you don't have enough information there, they need more, so they'll send an RFE and we kind of work you through the process of fulfilling it. Once the petition is approved, that's kind of where our job is done. We will send you all the filing documents. There's a form called an I-797, which says you're now approved, your duration, the name, and then we give you all that and you schedule your appointments in your respective country, and then you should be ready to go. We've seen in certain instances where it's a large group and some people in the group get denied. So again, it's like two different systems. The USCIS says here, oh, you're good to go as a performing band. And then now you got to go to the U.S. Embassy, which is a totally different system, to prove that you're going to come back to your country.
Ah.
So at some
So
point,
it's
if
two
there's any,
layers. So the
two layers,
American
yeah.
government says, yes, okay, all right, you're no threat. You are who you are. You're here to do something, good or whatever, culturally unique, with your extraordinary abilities. And so that's all well and good, but then you have to go to your local embassy, and the embassy could say, you overextended a visa before, or something
That's
to
right.
that nature. And
Exactly.
no, we're not letting you out. Interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
So
Interesting.
it all depends on the relationship that your country has with the United States, and aside from that, maybe how rich your country is. So this would happen mainly in the third world countries or countries that aggressively want to come to America. If you're filing a what's it called now? If you're filing an O visa or a P3 from the UK, it's normally easier. You know what I mean? Because of the relationship, UK citizens can already come here for 90 days without a visa, but they can't work here. So, yeah.
So they're pretty much, the visa part is pretty much taken care of. It sounds like it's the work permitting piece that they kind of need to handle.
Exactly. It's kind of the formality of getting yourself in a position to work here legally. Because so here's the common thing that people do. Some people come here and perform. The problem now becomes they don't have the right visa and they're coming too frequently. So the first time you came, you said, I was coming shopping, right? Next time, and this is next week, you show up again at an entry point and you say, oh, I'm going sightseeing. By the third time you come, they're going to want to know why you're coming once every week. And that's where the problem comes in.
And I've heard, from folks that particularly with social media, some of the governments in the other countries, particularly in the developing nations, are actually kind of observing the artists on social media, seeing people posting, oh, yeah, I was at such and such a party with them, or they did this show, they tore it up, and, all the accolades and some of the promotions, and they're waiting till they get back to their countries, and they're finding them for various types of infractions. The one that I've heard, I think, was something with employment taxes, because they didn't have the right visas and worked, got paid, and filed no taxes with anybody, not their government and definitely not the American government. So I think that, Michael, you have provided such a breadth of information for artists to understand the processes and the steps. Do you need a visa for every step of your travel? So I'm coming from Jamaica and I'm going to play at Madison Square Gardens in my dreams. But I'm coming from Jamaica. I'm here and I have all my stuff. I got Jamaican Embassy said, yep, you're good to go. USCIS said, yep, you're good to go. But then I want to go from here to Europe, to England, let's say. Do I need another set? Do I have to go through a similar process?
It depends on the country. I could tell you one beautiful country that needs nothing is Canada. You can go to Canada and perform for nothing. Once you have a visiting visa, you can perform in Canada. The UK also has a similar visa. They have a tier 1, tier 2, and I think up to a tier 5. So if you're going to perform in the UK, you also need a certain type of visa. So it'll depend on the country. But another good thing about having a work permit / O visa, P visa from here is that you can apply to go to another country from here. Take, for example, I don't know if it's for every country, but for Nigeria, if you're a Nigerian citizen and you have a visiting visa to the U.S., you cannot go to an embassy in the U.S. to file for a visa to go to that country. You have to go back to your country, to Nigeria, and file for a visa. But when you're on a P and O visa, you're like a resident in the U.S. So
Got it.
you can go to an embassy and just apply and go to the next country. And obviously, it is way, way easier to do it from here. And there's one other point I wanted to make, but I think I'll remember it.
That's what happens when you hang out with Synergy. You synchronize maybe a little bit too much because the forgetfulness is right here, my friend, right here. Folks think that I send them the questions before the shows, right, to prepare them. No, I do it to prepare myself. True story, synchronizers. Y'all know that's true. You are tuned in to Synergy, where music, business, and culture synchronize. And this is Andrea John Baptiste. And our guest today is the founder of Truflow Hub, Michael Obadozier. Obadozier. Did I get it right,
that's
Michael?
Right.
That's our time. That's our chat. Now it's time to call it a wrap. Tune in next week at 5 for another edition of Synergy Live, where music, business, and culture synchronize. This is your girl, Andrea John Baptiste. Follow me, follow us on Live with Synergy on Instagram and Twitter. Synergy is a production of Axum Management Capabilities, produced by JT the Believer.